Hey guys, Captain Smash, Smash Strength Lab, Ottawa, Ontario. So today we're talking about ways to improve various circuit training programs. And one of the big things, I had this conversation with a coach of mine, is like when people are designing circuit training, like you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your circuit, right? Regardless of how big of a group you have. So, but you want to consider certain key elements to prevent that circuit training from becoming just an overall aerobic cardio. So, and you'll find this a lot in certain CrossFits where they do a WOD of the day and they throw in some power movements, they throw in some strength movements, but they don't consider that you need actual time to recover from those strength movements and then before proceeding into a high intensity cardio or a sprint type work or that type of thing. So, you know, break your circuit down, depending on the size of group that you have, into the various segments. So you've got conditioning, you've got or metabolic conditioning, you know, set up for time. You've got your strength, you've got your power, you've got your hypertrophy work or your assistance work, and then you've got your rehab prehab type stuff. So, you know, for conditioning, you know, say we want to do some rowing, you know, we got rower sprints, you know, say we're doing 60 seconds and pyramiding up to 120 seconds. That's great, but it depends on what you throw them in with, right? You want an exercise that's not going to be challenging and allow the body to kind of recover from that row. So maybe throwing in like, you know, some kettlebell swings or some push-ups or something that's not really super taxing on the body. That way they can kind of go back and forth in between an exercise that's challenging and physically demanding, and then maybe even lighter, or depending on your population, maybe throw in some active recovery like some mobility work, you know, getting into the hip flexor region, doing like a couch stretch or something like that. So we've got our conditioning labeled out. Okay, we're gonna row for conditioning. What else are we gonna do? We're gonna do some heavy strength work, right? So let's do, you know, some deadlifts for our heavy strength builder and some overhead press. So there's our 1-2 strength movements. Okay, what else are we gonna do? Okay, well, we don't have any pulling motions in there, so you know, let's put in some assistance work. Let's say we're gonna do some pull-ups. And some rows. Some barbell rows. Okay, cool. So we've got it broken down a little bit now. We've got our rowing for our conditioning. We've got our deadlift and our military press. We've got heavy pull, heavy push, overhead. We've also got, you know, 2 more assistance pulls. I like to program more pulling in my programs simply because we're always in a push-based society. We always want to kind of give back as much as we can to our overall population, so we don't pull enough. So I throw in 2 or 3 extra pulls in almost every workout just to keep the shoulders healthy, keep the body from getting into that caveman posture, that forward lean posture. Okay, so what else could we do? Well, we need to do some core work, right? So let's throw in some core work. Let's say we're gonna do, you know, we're gonna do some flexion core, you know. All right, let's throw in some sit-ups. But we also want to balance that out, so you know, we have some static core or some rotary core. So I'm gonna throw in pallet press because that's one of my favorites. Okay, so overall we have our set program, right? And this is just an example. You can set it up however you want, but things to consider. Okay, so if I'm rowing and then going into a heavy deadlift, how's that gonna work? Not really fucking well, right? It's gonna suck, right? So maybe separating your strength sets out away from the rower would be a better thing, or depending on what you want out of your population. Say you have somebody that needs to work more on their strength and their conditioning level. Okay, well, position those strength moves away from the rest of the circuit, all right? Break them down, break your circuits down into segmented groups, okay? So a rower sprint is gonna be pretty overall taxing, but I could probably throw in a lighter movement like a pallet press or mobility, like I suggested before, pretty easily. So we'll attach the rower with a core exercise. Rower, pallet press. So, and we won't make make that move overall challenging. We'll give it a little bit of time because it's going to take them at least a minute on their first set to do that. So give them a number that they can do. They can hold it for, I'm putting in 10 reps each on the power press just to make it easy so that they're engaging the core, but they're not overly taxing themselves, and then they can go right into that sprint. So it's kind of like active recovery, right? That's going to be my first circuit right there. Boom. Okay, so now I've got a couple people that really need the strength moves. Okay, so the way I have this set up, a heavy pull and a heavy press, non-competing exercises, you could go back and forth in between those fairly simply, right? And they're going to be positioned away from the rower, so we're just going to put those strength moves right in there. Or we can pair them with some of the assistance exercises, which is probably even better. So we go deadlifts. Say we're doing sets of 5, 5 sets of 5 on the deadlifts, and then for pull-ups, perfect pairing, eases stress off of the back. As long as you have a population that can do good pull-ups and put them on a band, you're good to go. So, and then we're just going to go 5 sets of max, whatever they can handle. We pin those off. Okay, they're in their own segmented group. Okay, now let's go to military press in the row. Okay, so now we've got 3 different sections for our groups of circuit training, and now we just have a little bit of a finisher with a sit-up. Okay, well, we could do sit-ups all as a group, or just to kind of burn up the core, or whatever you want to do. So that'll be kind of our little cool-down finisher. Okay, so there you go. Let's get a little closer look. So overall, let me get this set up here, all over the map here. Okay, so we've got our conditioning, we've got our strength, we've got our assistant work, and then we've got our 2 cores. We're gonna throw our rower in with our pallet press just because it's a little easier to handle, and then we're gonna do our deadlifts and our pull-ups. All of these groups are gonna be segmented. So the coach is gonna have to know his population to be able to get in there and kind of triage, like, okay, well, who needs more conditioning, who needs more strength, who needs more overhead strength, and then, last but not least, we can finish with some sit-ups. So this is just a little segment of like how to properly program and make your overall circuits for groups better. I thrive on doing semi-private groups because the way you position your exercises, you want to make sure that your people are getting the best bang for their buck out of their exercise value. Throwing everybody into a circuit and just going straight down through the list is just going to wear them out. They're not going to get anything out of trying to do a rower sprint hard for 60 seconds, doing a deadlift and then a military press that's supposedly heavy for 5 reps, and then go on through the lighter stuff. It just doesn't make sense. So throw them in appropriately and triage out what you're actually looking for, right? So keep the strength moves for strength. Okay, give them enough rest period, give them enough heavy weight that they can actually get something out of that exercise. If you're doing conditioning, set it up appropriately. If you've got people that are out of condition, make sure they get enough rest period in between so that they can hit that row hard and recover. That way they can repeat going strong. And then do a good amount of assistant work, stuff that's going to be useful to them. Like if you're throwing in, a whole bunch of push-ups and sit-ups and flutter kicks, all doing that forward range of motion and not doing anything for your upper back and your pulling muscles and your hamstrings, glutes, that type of stuff, you're ruining those people. They're not getting any value out of that. So just a few of my notes and tips on how to set up a good conditioning circuit. You set your programs up like this, your people are going to get a lot out of it. They're going to get stronger, they're going to get fitter, they're going to get a lot better condition, and they're going to be balanced, which is the main thing, because you want to prevent them from getting injured and you want to keep them working as hard as possible. So hey, if you like this video, give it a like. If you think somebody else might like it, give it a share, and I will check you later. See you at the lab.